So that being done, let's go ahead and get on with our first question. And by the way, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber to the channel, would love for you to have you part of the community. Go and click that subscribe button, and you'll get videos like this in your inbox and all the time. And also, you'll click the bell notification icon there, and that way you'll know when I go live. Okay? All right. Cool. Let's go ahead and start. Okay? Question number 1. As we get into it here, let's see here. Question number 1. Where's my? Oh, here we go. Question number 1 says, "Hey guys, been trying to draw more students on Wednesday night. Not been doing great at it. What do you think? What are some ideas that you have?" And that is the age-old question, is it not? How do we get more students to show up on a Wednesday night? That's the key, right? So I have a few ideas. I think there's several ways. So the first way, I think, obviously, is when I ask students, I say, "Hey, listen, why don't you I've learned not to do this, but we want to say, hey guys, bring your friends." And what I have found out is that a lot of our students don't think they have any friends. So when they ask, they say, "Well, I don't have any friends." Well, then I changed my methodology. I changed what I was doing. I said, "Okay, invite somebody you know to church tonight. Invite somebody you know to you." Now, look, these people may not be your friends, but you do know them, and you could become their friend by inviting them to youth. And so in broadening the scope of what a student, what you're asking a student to do, you're actually giving room for the Holy Spirit to move, right? You're saying, look, don't just talk to your friends, talk to anybody that the Holy Spirit leads you to, right? If you know somebody kind of casually in your math class, well, go ahead and invite them. If you know somebody, that's kind of on your ball team, but they're not your friend per se, but the Lord leads you to invite them, go ahead and invite them. And I think that's the most natural way. Listen, if the students in your group are believers, if they're followers of Jesus, or they say they are, right, then you want to make it as natural for them as possible. You don't want to get them on the hype train. You just want to say, hey, here's students that out of your own heart, because you believe that this youth program, this youth meeting that I'm asking you to come to, is worth that time for you. It's worth saying, look, young people who need to be a part of this community, who need to be a part of this group. And that is my approach to that, as far as trying to ask students to come, right? The second thing I do, I first appeal to their natural, or not natural, but their, I appeal to their deepest part of their heart that says, look, you guys come to this group because you feel a part of this community. And I ask them, how many people do you know could use a community like this, where they can come in, ask questions, explore faith, grow in their faith if they're a Christian and don't have a place to grow? So I want to appeal to a student's desire to see their friends come to Christ. That's the first thing I want to do. The thing I do next is I say, okay, guys, so I would say, look, if you're having trouble growing or getting kids to show up on a Wednesday night, is talk to your youth rather than try to go off into a lab somewhere and try to figure this thing out and say, okay, I'm going to come up with 50 different ways to do this, and I'm going to have all this, and we're going to do that, and you're coming, and then you come in like a car salesman, and you have to sell it to your kids. Guys, let me tell you what we're going to do, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have that for you, and we come into this big hype type of deal. The better thing to do, I believe, is if you would plan with your students. Say, guys, what would you like me to do? What could we plan together that would be enticing to your friends, to make you want to invite your friends? Say, Paul, if we would do this, I would invite 10 of my friends. If you did this, Paul, I promise you, I would bring us back. Now, look, you take that with a grain of salt, by the way. Students say a lot of things, right? Hey, Cameron. Students say a lot of things, but I want them to be excited, right? Rather than them getting excited about something I planned, I want them to be excited about something we've planned, something we've done together, because now it's not just my idea, it's their idea as well. It's hard to get excited about somebody else's idea sometimes. And I think what is key for young people is that you give them the tools, because they know what's going on then, right? When you plan it with them, you are putting it into their hands as well. They know what's going on. They know what food's going to be there. They know what games are going to be played. They know what's going to happen. And so when you plan with them, that gives them the tools to then invite somebody else versus, hey, what do you invite your friends to this event? Well, what is this event? Well, I don't know. It's just something my youth pastor cooked up. Right? So I think it's much better that if you're having a struggle trying to build that Wednesday night, and everybody, by the way, everybody has a problem with that. Unless you're big churches have struggles with that, right? They're doing a fraction of what they would normally do, right? Post-pandemic. And so if you're struggling, don't think that, oh, it's only me. It's not only you. It's a lot of churches. It's a lot of people. So we're all doing it, right? I have the same struggle. I'm no different. I do the same planning with my students to say, okay, what are we doing tonight? Because I want them to be involved in the process. I don't want to come off and be the car salesman where I have to sell you on the program. If you tell me you're a believer and you love Jesus, great. This would be a great place to invite your friends to either discover the Lord or grow in the Lord. Otherwise, I release you to share your faith outside this group, right? This is a training ground for you to learn how to do that, and I release you to do that. It's the metrics sometimes that get us because, it depends what we're paid for, right? If your pastor is paying you to grow the group and you're struggling to grow the group, well, that's a problem, right? If you're being paid to disciple your group and the pressure to not explode beyond a normal or idea of what your youth group, if you're in a church of 30 or 40 or 50 and your pastor or your board wants you to have 100, I'm going to say that's unreasonable. That's an unreasonable amount of things there. But I believe every youth ministry can steadily grow. I believe every youth ministry can build. When you have one extra person come, two people, in these ones and twos, and listen, you want to do big events, right? You want to have some big things go on, and plan that with your students. And then that way, I think you're going to get a better event. You're going to get something that is going to be collective. It is not going to be you trying to pitch things to them. It's going to be something that they can get excited about, something you can get excited about. You give out roles and responsibilities to make the event happen. And then you release them and say, hey guys, count down this many weeks to this many weeks to this one, next week is this, right? So you're helping them be able to promote it because you've planned it with them and you've given it enough time and you've expanded the borders of who they should invite. Their friends, right? No, invite people you know. Who do you know? Family members that you have cousins around the corner? Invite your cousins. If they're the same, if they're teenagers, invite them, right? They could be people like that. So that is my thought behind that. And I will give you one thing though that I will tell you about, that I do have a resource if you're interested. And that is a resource called Tribes. If you want to go that route, if you want to go the route of, hey, I want to do something, plan something with my students where every week is an activity. Every week is, you're doing kind of a team building thing where, okay, well, Paul, I only have 10 kids. Okay, well, great. 5 on this team, 5 on that team. And then you build it and then you give a prize and all that kind of good stuff. If you want to do that, this is great for summer, but it's also great for fall. It's a great way to say, hey, we're having this competition. We'd love you to come. We get points, so forth and so on. And then at the end, we get this. I've done it during the summertime and I gave away a limo ride and took my kids bowling. It was fantastic. Had a great time. Had a great group show up. And we did see some students show up. Right? So I think if you're interested in something like this, then I'll put a link down below. Also, there's most of the curriculum that I write has some sort of game or activity or things like that. So if you're not used to doing that, I include that. But I also have a series called Challenge Accepted, which is 4 weeks on the challenge of following Jesus. And so I have challenges every week that you can do, that you can invite students to be a part of. And so, yeah, if you're interested in that and you're struggling to get students to show up and you want something that's already prepackaged, something that's already there that you can just kind of follow along with. Hey, by the way, that Tribes comes with an audio coaching of me giving you the ideas, me helping you through the process, and you can check that out for yourself.